In this next lesson, we're going to be talking about the order of operations. The first one is parentheses. Next is the exponents. The third step is multiplication. The fourth step is division. Then comes addition. And the last one is subtraction. Now, one thing we need to note is that you can actually do multiplication and division in either order, from left to right. And we can also do addition and subtraction in either order, left to right. But other than that, it's got to go in this order. Okay, so let's do some examples of this. So we're going to use the order of operations to simplify these problems. 9 times the quantity, 5 minus 3 cubed, plus 8. So the first thing we're going to do is the parentheses. So we're going to have 9, and then 5 minus 3 is 2 cubed plus 8. Alright, the next step is to do the exponents. 2 cubed. So I'm going to have 9 times 8 plus 8. Third step I'm going to do is the multiplication. 9 times 8, 72 plus 8. And finally, I can do the 72 plus 8, and my final answer is 80. For this next one, there's more steps in this one, but the first thing we're going to do is the parentheses. So step 1 is going to be to write 2 plus 6 plus 3 is 9 squared divided by 2 minus 8. Okay, so now we have exponents. 9 squared. So I write 2 plus 81 divided by 2 minus 8. Okay, now the next step is multiplication or division. So I have 81 divided by 2. So my third step is to write 2 plus 81 divided by 2, which is 40.5 minus 8. The fourth step is to do addition and subtraction left to right. So I'm going to have 2 plus 40.5, which is 42.5, because that's the left part, subtract off 8. And finally, my last step is to take 42.5 minus 8, which would give me 34.5. So that would be your final answer. Example 3, 5 plus 7 minus 2 times 3 squared, and that's what we need to solve. So the first step is the parentheses, but in this case we don't really have parentheses. All we have is right here, which is actually just an exponent, 3 squared. So I'm going to write 5 plus 7 minus 2, 3 squared is 9, so times 9. The next step, 2, is the multiplication, 2 times 9. So I would write 5 plus 7 minus 2 times 9 is 18. Step 3, addition and subtraction left to right. So left to right would be 5 plus 7, which is 12, minus 18. And the final step, 12 minus 18 is a negative 6. And that's your final answer. And for number 4, we have negative 17 plus the whole quantity of the quantity, 17 plus 13 divided by 2, plus 20 times 1/2. So our first step is to do parentheses. But this one, we actually have parentheses inside of my parentheses. So I have to do that part first. So I have negative 17 plus 17 plus 13, which is 30 divided by 2, and that's where my other parentheses are, plus 20 times 1/2. Alright, so the next thing I do is division and multiplication left to right. So step 2 is 30 divided by 2. So negative 17 plus 15 plus 20 times 1/2. Step 3 is to do the multiplication part. So I have 20 times 1/2, giving me negative 17 plus 15 plus 20 times 1/2 is 10. And step 4 is addition and subtraction left to right. So negative 17 plus 15 is a negative 2 plus 10. And finally, the last step is negative 2 plus 10, which will give me a positive 8, and that's your final answer. In these next examples, we want to explain our method, explain how we simplify it. So we have 3 times the quantity 2 plus 4 minus 8 divided by 4. Step 1 is to do the parentheses and add 2 plus 4. And then what we have is 3 times 6 minus 8 divided by 4. The next step is to multiply 3 times 6. Multiplication left to right. So 3 times 6 is 18 minus 8 divided by 4. The next step is division. So we're going to divide 8 by 4. 8 divided by 4. So I have 18 minus 2. Finally, what we're going to do is the subtraction, 18 minus 2, which will give me 16. So your final answer is 16. In this next one, we have 10 minus the quantity 4 plus 2 times 10 squared divided by 2. So the first step here is to do the parentheses 4 plus 2. So what I have is 10 minus 6 times 10 squared divided by 2. The next step is to do the exponents. So that would be the 10 squared. So I have 10 minus 6. 10 squared is 100, so times 100 divided by 2. Next, we have multiplication because we're going from left to right. So if we multiply 6 times 100, we get 10 minus 600 divided by 2. And the next step is to do the division part right there, the 600 and the 2. So 10 minus 600 divided by 2 is 300. 10 minus 300. And the final step is to do the subtraction, 10 minus 300, which is going to be a negative 290. And that's your final answer. So those are your notes over the order of operations. Go through some practice problems. Make sure that you understand the order and every time how you do it. Then you should be ready for your quiz.